okay to talk in the library. It's not like it used to be.
Okay, well, it's 6:30 on my watch. Go ahead and call to order this regular commission meeting Tuesday, July the 8th, 2014, 6:30 p.m. And the invocation will be given by Pastor Nicole Schwartz from First United Methodist Church. Would you all please rise and then remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please join with me in prayer or observe a moment of silence. God of all nations, you have called us to live lives of righteousness and justice. You have called all people to lives of peace and wholeness. You have called us to care more for places of service than lofty places. You've called us to care more for purpose than power. Bless now those who gather in this place. Give them gifts of discernment. Give the gifts of wisdom. Give them gifts of vision. To those who leave here, grant the patience of cooperation. To those who converse here, grant clarity of thought. To those who decide here, grant courage before truth. Keep before us the broken places of our lives, places of despair and disappointment. Set our ears to hear the cry of the poor. Set our eyes to see the needs of the sick. Set our hearts to beat in rhythm with yours. And blend us with all people of goodwill, both in this place and beyond, in order that this place might be a signal of hope and fulfillment. Amen.
And
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible.
Thank you all for coming this evening, and for those of us who are being watched on TV, I guess we are live. Is that correct, Chris? Okay, we're on the air. All right. Okay, if you have a cell phone with you, if you would please either turn it off or turn it down to vibrate so it doesn't disturb the meeting. And on the consent agenda items, we have the regular commission meeting minutes from Tuesday, June 24th. Are there any additions or corrections? Anything that you saw there? Being none, they stand as presented. Next on the item is the 2014 Appropriations Ordinance AO 14-12 in the amount of $982,066.05. Questions, commissioners?
I have one question. It's not about the expenditure. It's about basically just a question to Chief Celeste. There's an expenditure in here for $1,460.25 for fire. Question: are you paying for labor out of your pocket? And number two, or you're not doing it yourself, are you?
No, in this particular case, we had a power steering pump problem on one of the Chargers. We had to take it to a dealership in Bartlesville. We did not have our city credit cards at the time. They required payment, so I did use my personal credit card because they required payment at time of service, and then I've asked for reimbursement. In this particular case, we have had trouble with previous power steering pumps on the same model Charger. Previously, what we had to do was get it fixed and then submit a claim and basically argue with Chrysler to get reimbursed. We were successful last time in getting reimbursed for that, and we're attempting this time too. We filed a claim, and we'll be attempting to get reimbursed for that cost as well. Because I believe it's just a 2012 model. It's not a very old vehicle, and we've been having problems with those power steering pumps.
Problems with those cars are typical, but I mean, you just go through. But what my concern is that why didn't we have a city? The department head shouldn't be paying for stuff out of it.
We've taken care of that within the last month. I believe every department has a credit card.
Okay, so that's not right to make them do that. I don't care who you are, because if something were to happen, then your family would be stuck with $1,200 worth of.
So I appreciate that, and it was just a
And
couple
it's
days
not just
later.
you, it'd be anybody out there. It's not right for the department heads to have to pay for stuff out of their own pocket. And I don't like that idea, and I don't believe it.
We did get the credit card subsequently, just a few days after this particular expense, but hopefully that's a rare thing.
Thank you. That answers my question.
Any others? Being none others?
I move to approve the appropriation.
Second?
Motion was made by Commissioner Williams and seconded by Commissioner Edwards to approve the consent agenda as presented. Commissioner Jordan.
Aye.
Mayor Faulkner.
Aye.
Commissioner Castler.
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards.
Aye.
Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
All right, short deviation from the agenda. Mr. George has asked for a moment.
As most of you know, my wife took a job in Wichita, and I moved her up there this last week. So what I need to do is tender my resignation. I will be running back and forth because I still have business here to take care of and everything else. But my last commission meeting will be the last meeting in July, if that's all right with everybody. It's been fun to work with all of you. Enjoyed it. City staff, I think we have some of the best staff there is. And Mr. Bradley, I'm not leaving because I didn't get your job, like some people think.
No, it's because your wife got it.
That's right.
Anything else?
Nope, that's it.
All right. You've served long and faithfully, and we appreciate your dedication to the city. Next item on the agenda is public hearings, special presentations, proclamations. I don't believe there are any, but if anyone in the audience would like to make a comment at any point in time while we're discussing any issues, not just there's a section for comments from the public, but at any time, please feel free to step up to the podium, give us your name and address, and then we'll hear what you have to say. And at this time, we do have, next item is comments from the public. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to say anything? All right, then, we'll move on to old business. Second reading of an ordinance to amend truck routes, ordinance number G-14-02. Changes as recommended and as noted in the ordinance from the first reading. Any discussion, commissioners?
I have none, but I think we should pause for a moment. I have no questions or additions.
Move to approve ordinance number G-14-02 for adoption.
Second.
Motion was made by Commissioner Edwards and seconded by Commissioner Castler to approve ordinance number G-14-02 for adoption. Commissioner Edwards.
Aye.
Commissioner Castler.
Aye.
Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Commissioner George.
Aye.
Mayor Faulkner.
Aye. Next on the agenda, new business. Resolution number R-14-51, a resolution to purchase steel poles from Pelco Structural LLC for the electric utility. Director Gene Ratzlaff will make comments.
Mayor and Commissioners, the Santa Fe distribution line consists of 3 circuits on one pole line originating from the power plant substation and continuing south on Santa Fe Street, with 1 circuit serving Parmac, 1 circuit continuing to the wastewater treatment plant, and the other to Acme Foundry. Each of these lines serves other customers as well. These poles will be part of the rebuild of this line. Elgar Martin Associates issued a bid for 3 steel self-supporting poles, and we received 8 responses. Pelco Structural LLC had the lowest bid, the quickest delivery, and all calculations appear to be what was specified. Staff recommends the mayor execute a purchase order in the amount of $81,984 to Cultural Structural LLC. And the tabulation sheets and bid documents are attached.
A question, should any of those industries on that circuit require additional power, will the poles accommodate
yeah.
additional lines?
These are monster poles.
All right. Just looking downstream in case any of those industries need additional power.
Yeah, we're actually increasing the conductor size. All the other poles in the line are going to be much larger and heftier also.
All right, thank you. Any other questions? All right, then I move to approve resolution number R-14-51 for adoption.
Second.
Motion was made by Mayor Faulkner and seconded by Commissioner George to approve resolution number R-14-51 for adoption. Commissioner Castlew.
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards.
Aye.
Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Commissioner George.
Aye.
Mayor Faulkner.
Aye. Next is resolution number R-14-52, a resolution to execute an agreement with Poor Boy Tree Service for line clearance tree trimming. Utility Director Gene Ratzlaff.
The Electric Distribution Department employs a contractor to perform tree trimming services on approximately 200 miles of distribution lines and 16 miles of transmission lines. A request for proposals was issued on June 3rd, 2014 for hourly rates for a 3-man crew plus bucket truck, chipper, and hand tools, and 3 responses were received. The RFP requested information concerning qualifications and experience, safety, training, and a 3-year hourly rate for a 3-man crew, bucket truck, chipper, and hand tools. The rates are as follows. And for 2014, Asplund had a rate of $118.73, Poor Boy $102.22, Davis Tree Service $87.09. Davis Tree Service did not meet the requirements of experience, qualifications, safety, or insurance requirements. They also have 3 trucks and a crew. Poor Boy has a strong training and safety program and good work ethic according to references. They also are able to respond quickly with extra crews and equipment during storm emergencies, including mobile motels, kitchen, showers, and laundry. Staff recommends the mayor be authorized to execute an agreement with Poor Boy Tree Service Incorporated to provide line clearance tree trimming services at the rates proposed. Any questions?
Those are references.
References was City of Winfield, Radian, Caney Valley Co-op, and Hartman Co-op. And there were many others too, and they had nothing but good things to say. Matter of fact, they compared them to some other contractors they've had in the past, and there was no comparison as far as they were concerned.
I have a couple of questions. First of all, just an observation. I would be in favor of this, given a couple of considerations. First of all, asking for a 3-year contract. We only budget, the city budgets on an annual basis.
Yeah, I'm aware of that.
So we need to include provisions for an annual review.
That's in the plan. Matter of fact, Paul and I have talked about that, and we have a sample contract we're going to issue.
Okay.
Each year, but we won't have to go out for bids the second and third year.
Okay. Also, doing some math on the numbers that you provided, it represents just a standardized incremental increase from year to year of 5%. And in the information you've given us, there's no justification for 5%. I went into some of the government regional and area indices, and the consumer price index, or the inflation rate for services in this area, has been 2.7% for the last couple of years, which is virtually 1/2 of the proposed 5% annual increase. And if as part of the annual review, they need to be able to provide significant justification in order to sustain that 5%. Otherwise, I'd like to see that contract tied to the CPI.
Okay. Yeah, we're talking about 1 year and the other, and we have to renew it each year. Okay, so-
Because just arbitrary 5% every year. I mean, we know fuel costs are going up, and given the insanity in the Middle East, it could even, we could start seeing fuel prices spike again. But on an annual basis, I'd like to see some justification for that kind of an increase.
No problem.
All right, if you can include that. So that means that we would, Gary, would those changes need to be made in the contract and presented at the next meeting?
Well, I got a question. I understand what you're saying, but does that also open the door for them to come back a year from now if we do this and say instead of $107 next year, we want 120 because inflation's gone up and everything else, so we've just lost money instead of tied them into something? Just a question.
Commissioners, what do you think? It's time to talk about it. Chris, opinion?
Well, I think on a 3-year contract, you lock them into, you're gonna give and take, because it could go either way.
That's the,
You know what I mean? On a 3-year contract, we may give a little, but then the 3rd year, we may get a little. You see what I'm saying?
Okay, all
And
right.
on the 3-year contract, at least you know what you're dealing with, versus every year, you go to a position of unknown, because, I mean, you could really have a drastic increase if you go year to year. That's my opinion.
Okay.
So I'm satisfied with the 3-year contract. I'm satisfied with the
The rate?
the rate and the proposal. I think that the thing is my biggest concern is that with, and I won't name any specific companies, but I think that we all know who we're dealing with here in the orange trucks. You know what you got, and you know what you're gonna get, versus this people, which they may be the best thing, who knows? But the thing is we're going off of the references. I hope by changing that we're making a good decision, because we know what we got now.
Well, we'd like to have the ability to tell them to leave after 6 months if it doesn't work out. And we can do that in the contract.
Is there currently an opt-out in the contract?
We haven't, we're reviewing it right now. Paul has one that we're looking at. So, because that's why I asked for an hourly rate. I did not ask a rate for a whole year. I asked what the rates are in 2014 and an hourly rate. So that means that in 6 weeks, if things aren't working out well, we'll do something else.
Great, that's a good
Because
idea.
with
And
tree
that makes me
trimming,
feel even
Okay.
better.
that's an excellent idea.
because with tree trimming folks, sometimes that's an issue.
And that brings me back to the point where we know what we got now versus we're going into uncharted waters, so to speak.
So this is not a binding thing. We went out for prices.
I have no problem with
Okay.
the way it's presented.
Okay. All right. Commissioner Kessler?
I have no problem with, this is every 6 months, this is the first 6 months.
Well, whenever we determine if they're doing well, then we'll just continue that employment.
Yeah, no problem.
And then after 1 year, we can look at it again, have them refresh the numbers, whatever.
Move to approve resolution number R-14-52 for adoption.
Second.
Motion was made by Commissioner Edwards and seconded by Commissioner Williams to approve resolution number R-14-52 for adoption. Commissioner George.
Aye.
Mayor Faulkner.
Aye.
Commissioner Castler.
Aye.
Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards.
Aye.
Next on the agenda is resolution number R-14-53, a resolution to purchase a replacement annunciator alarm system from WHC Incorporated for the electric utility. Electric Utility Deputy Director Mike Shook will make comments.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. The item I bring before you this evening is for the for a replacement annunciator alarm system for the number 7 unit at the electric power plant. This system was originally installed in 1972. It is a hardwired, solid-state, sealed relay system which alerts operating personnel of any system abnormalities. Replacement relays for this system have become obsolete over the last 5 to 7 years, thus having the possibility of making this system inoperable. Staff issued a request for proposals for system replacement, receiving 4 proposals. Staff reviewed these proposals based on items such as design, cost, warranty, and schedule. Therefore, staff recommends the authorization of a purchase order in the amount of $31,616 to WHC Incorporated for the purchase of a replacement annunciator alarm system for the electric utility. I'd be happy to try to answer any questions that you may have.
Commissioners, I got a question.
Yes, sir.
Explain to me what this is.
I included a picture with your packet, and on this picture, the top row, the back of the lights, I'm sure the commissioner's been in control. When we get a system alarm on the unit generator 7 or boiler 4, this sets off a horn, the light flashes. These have been going bad probably for the last 10 years, to the point now where if we try to change a relay, we go to plug in a new relay, at times it'll often short out and shoot fire out.
Not supposed to do that, are they?
Not supposed to do that.
That's a bad thing in electric.
That's bad.
Yes.
We originally had a budgetary proposal for this item for $75,000. Once we went out to the proposals, they cut, you saw the range from 38 to 31. This system that we're recommending, we've contacted 2 other utilities. One of the utilities has put in all these systems, and they're actually taking those out now. This does have a 5, did not even go to 1. So we do feel this is the best replacement for this item.
Can't
I'll
roast
move-
marshmallows with this one.
Hope not.
I'll move to approve Resolution R 1453 for adoption.
Second.
Motion was made by Commissioner George and seconded by Commissioner Williams to approve resolution number R-1455 for adoption. Commissioner Edwards.
Aye.
Commissioner Castro.
Aye.
Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Mayor Fox.
Aye.
Commissioner Short.
Aye.
Next on the agenda is comments from commissioners and staff. Staff, would you care to go first?
Good evening, Commissioners. I just wanted to report that the police department has moved locations effective today. We moved the police department, and our offices are now located at CRMC Hospital at the space out there at the northeast corner of the building. We will be closed tomorrow as we continue to set up, but we will be open to the public on the 10th, the day after.
The offices will be closed.
That's correct.
The officers will
Yes.
still be on patrol.
Our emergency services, our 911 services have remained, obviously, they've remained uninterrupted. I certainly need to give recognition to our communications director, Chad Falls, for moving a 911 dispatch center. That was no easy task. It was a very monumental task to do, and he did a great job, and our 911 services were uninterrupted during the move.
Mayor and Commissioners, I wanted to let you know that our street surface sealing contractor is moving back into town today, and they plan to do 8th Street, the sections they haven't done at night, so they'll disrupt the business less. And they're planning to do, right now, Klein to Elm tomorrow night, and then Patterson to Northeast Street Thursday night. And that's still contingent upon no rain. That's what's kind of driven them off a few times. Usually this time of year, you don't get rain every 2 or 3 days. Also, so you'll know, and there's several other streets they're going to do that they haven't got yet. They haven't got 4th Street from Park to Hargis, 3rd from Elm to Union, Patterson from 4th to 11th, Spruce from 11th to 14th, and Buckeye 1st to 11th. And we are planning to grind that spot on Buckeye. And then we're looking with the money that was allotted, we think we can add Willow Street from 11th Street all the way down to Eldridge. So we're hoping to get that. I guess I might ask for a little consensus here. If we're going to run just a little over the amount allotted, do you want us to stop a block short or finish it and then come back with a change order?
Change order.
Okay, all right. I guess
sure?
that's it.
How are you going to do that? A question, change order.
We're paying unit cost for quantities
Right.
that they
And
lay.
so if he's a block short, you're going to wait 2 weeks to bring us a change order?
Ratify
No.
change order.
No,
Okay.
yeah. Because if we run over, it's going to be a few $1,000s.
And we have to come back to you with any change order that's over $25,000.
Right.
So
So-
if it's under,
It just goes directly to you, we don't have to come back.
Right.
Okay.
We believe
I
we're going to get
understand.
it done within the current budget, but it's going to be really close, so I just wanted to kind of give you a heads up on that.
Is the other half of your street going to get done?
Yes, they said. I'm not exactly sure why they
he
did
said
that
as long
either.
as his side got done.
Yeah. He can get in and out
You
in
mean
case.
his side, not the other side? Ooh.
I haven't got to my street yet.
Oh, believe me, I've heard it.
It's not over yet. All right.
Okay. And a couple meetings ago, there was a question about the cost of some of the intersections and whether they were higher. I did a summary. I think what may have been the misunderstanding was thinking one intersection was 300 and some thousand, but that was actually 3 intersections plus 2 swales. It was the total contract. But anyway, you can see from the summary, they're staying pretty steady.
Yeah, thank you for that, Chuck.
Sure.
It really breaks it down and shows that, it's in line.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor and Commissioners, just wanted to update you on the status of the fire department move. We do have possession of the building across the alley now, and firefighters are over there doing the work. I would suspect that 99% of the work guys can do. So if you happen to be driving by, stop in, look at the place if you'd like, but we're in the process.
All right,
I
thank
have a
you.
question, Chief, which brings me to my original point when we purchased this building. When are we gonna apply for the grant for the KDHE to?
Well, the first step is KDHE has to try to find the responsible owner, and that's the process they're in now.
Okay.
So they will let us know if they do or don't, and then we proceed to the next step.
So the process has started, is what you're saying?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else?
We just would like to know what days work for the commission for next week to start the budget process, the budget workshops. What your
Any day next week will be fine for me. I think we're going to do that in the evening hours.
Evening?
at your discretion. We've done afternoons in the past, but I've only been through that process once. So if you want mornings and it works for everybody, we can do mornings, we can do afternoons, we can do evenings.
I think we've always done it in the mornings and afternoons, haven't we?
Well, we have to do it the way we've always done it.
And I've given my availability list to Cindy, and later in the week would be better.
How many days do we anticipate this? 3?
Probably 3 days. We could try to make it.
I'll work at it.
I think that we should schedule 3 days.
I work after 5. Tuesdays and Wednesdays I'm available anytime.
I'm available, just let me know.
I work till 6, till about 6 o'clock every day, so I can try to.
I can do it in the mornings, any day. What time do you go to work? What time do you go to work?
I go to work at 8 o'clock in the morning.
You're working 8 to 6?
Around that time,
When did you start doing that?
yeah. Summer program.
Are you working 50 hours a week?
No.
Well, I think that we can work the schedule out. I mean,
I'll find some time to take off.
right.
I'll figure out something.
Are you gonna be in town?
No,
When will you be back?
midweek.
Wednesday?
Yeah.
So you could do it Wednesday?
Probably, yeah.
Wednesday night, okay.
So we'll shoot for Wednesday in the latter half of the week.
Okay.
Sounds like you'd be available Wednesday, and everybody would be available Wednesday evening or
Yeah.
at least that Wednesday, and then we'll see what happens for Thursday and Friday, whether or not it's maybe, it sounds like somebody's gonna have to take off or something from that side of the day. You probably have to take off from work too, but I presume you can schedule that.
We work 24 hours a day, so I mean, we can flex that schedule a little bit. It's usually what.
So you'll let us know time?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, anything else from the staff?
No.
Commissioners, any comments? I've got one, Gary, and then from a code enforcement standpoint too, Chief. I'm starting to see an awful lot of grass clippings being shot out into the street in a lot of different locations. And with as much rain as we've been getting, I can't see how that's not having a detrimental effect on the stormwater drainage system, clogging it up. So if we could just pay a little more attention to that and get the word out. Maybe a little note in the paper as part of the commission meeting notes to encourage everyone, if you're going to shoot that first round of grass, shoot it back up into the yard, not out into the street, because it's just going to be clogging the storm system. And then also, I would like to have a short executive session for purpose of discussing non-elected personnel. And it wouldn't take more than 15 minutes.
I'd like to ask a few questions if I could. This is the first time that obviously some of us have been through a situation where an acting or a setting commissioner has resigned to move on to other things in their lives. What is the procedure, and how quickly can we move to get something rolling on that procedure?
It's done by appointments. We'll take applications, and then it's done by appointments. The commissioners will appoint a person.
Okay, when
How
do we
quick,
start?
we can start advertising it tomorrow. How quick you want to have those back would be up to you.
I'd like to, and the vetting process is basically an interview process, an open session, or is it in?
It's all done open, yes.
Okay, so does anyone have the objection? You'd have no say, because you're bowing out on this, so I'll turn the microphone this way, so you don't. Does anyone have any objection to start that process and have those people present and basically accounted for, so we can review those the first meeting in August?
That sounds like good.
Do you
Good.
want to do that at a regular meeting, or do you want to have a special meeting?
Well, looking at these agendas, it doesn't, I mean, depending on on the weight of the agenda that meeting. If it's like this, I mean, we've been here not even an hour. I mean, if it's like that, then I'd
Just regular commission
do
meeting.
a regular commission meeting, but if we got a 4-page agenda, then obviously we probably need to think about calling a special meeting. But these agendas here in the last 3 weeks, for whatever reason, probably because it's summer, have been really light.
Sounds good to me.
We'll start the advertising process and have applications turned in,
As soon as possible.
and then schedule the interviews during the commission meeting on the, I think it's the 12th, August 12th.
That's during Fair Rodeo too, I think. Yeah, they'll just have to, if they're interested, they'll have to be here.
All right.
You concur?
Sounds good. Also, just sort of a comment for those of you who use Woodland to drive back and forth out by LeClaire Park. There's a large sign out there that Mr. Taylor's put up on his property that says, "No new tax." It's not what is being proposed, and there'll be a lot more information on that. It's just a continuation of an existing tax. So it's not new, it's just a continuation. So there'll be more coming on that.
That he supported when he was on the commission.
Yes, that he did support when he was on the commission for the infrastructure and repair of streets, but there'll be more on that. Commissioners?
Just briefly, for many years, the knock on the city has been that we don't take care of our streets, we don't take care of our buildings, we let things just kind of deteriorate. And I've been driving around town a lot lately, and I'm seeing a lot of, I think it's safe to say we've spent more on streets in the last couple of years than we've spent in any several-year period previously. And it shows because there's a lot of progress being made on our streets. We're in this building tonight because City Hall's being, given a makeover. The public library's coming along. I was in there last week, and it's coming together. It's looking good. Boys and Girls Club across the streets, in the deep throes of being remodeled. And my point here is, I've been on city commissions when we've built football stadiums and added 9 holes to the golf course, while the city buildings and the streets were still deteriorating. And for the first time in my 7th year of being a commissioner, I finally feel proud of what we're doing as a city government for our citizens. And I feel like we're finally getting it right. And I just want to say thank you to the other commissioners for helping put us on this path, and for the citizens voting the sales tax revenues to make these things happen, and for the staff who've been very instrumental in finally getting us on the right track. And I just hope that in a month, when we have our next sales tax vote, that the people will see that we're heading in the right direction. It's going to take a while to get where we need to be and where we want to be, but it's going to be very instrumental that we continue that sales tax in order to get where we want to go. And that's all I've got to say.
Thank you. Any more comments?
I've got a question. The building downtown, the former Brown building, the one with the curtains flapping in the breeze on the 3rd and 4th floor, what is that a violation of the light ordinance or?
The broken out windows are.
Kind of, all the windows are busted out of it, the curtains are flying out onto the building. What are we doing about that? Because that's basically an eyesore for people coming to downtown Cottonville. I mean, it's a historical downtown area. People come from all across the nation to see different things that our downtown has to offer because of our history. And then that's just one thing among many. But that is a very catches your eye immediately, put it that way.
And that is a violation.
do we have a ticket open on that property?
I'm not sure, I'll have to look and see.
If we don't, can we start one?
Sure.
I do know that city staff, after it was broken, went out with the street sweeper and cleaned up the glass off of the street and on the sidewalk. It was a danger.
It also becomes a public health issue with the pest, the birds in there. And, again, that brings me back to a whole nother point I made in the past, but that's just a place for them to hang out and do whatever pigeons do.
Breed.
Right.
Make more pigeons.
Yeah.
Anything else?
We'll check into that, we'll let you know, and if we haven't contacted the owner, we will.
Thank you.
All right, anything else? Then I move we adjourn to executive session for the purpose of discussing non-elected personnel to return on or about 7:25.
Second.
Okay.
Motion is made by Mayor Faulkner, seconded by Commissioner Edwards to recess to the executive session for the discussion of non-elected personnel to reconvene on or before 7:25. All in favor?
Aye.